Fraser Valley stats just dropped for March of 2026, and after 11 months of straight declines, we finally flattened out. So it begs the question, are we seeing a light at the end of the tunnel? After falling 7.7% over the last 11 months, the composite benchmark price has received a small bump, rising 0.3% to 898,300. The board recorded 1,007 sales in March, which is great. That's a 19.5% increase over February. But we're still 2.8% back from this time last year. And when you consider that we're 42% behind on the 10-year seasonal average, it's not as rosy a picture as some are making out to be. Now you might say to me, Jordan, sales increased by 20%. That's a fantastic trajectory. And I'd agree with you, except for the fact that new listings also increased 20% month over month by 3,341 units. So that eats up the additional gains pretty quick. In fact, total active units here in the Fraser Valley has risen to 9,201 homes. That's 50% above the 10-year seasonal average. So while sales are increasing, and that's fantastic, we have a lot of inventory to chew through. And when buyers have a lot of opportunity and options, prices don't necessarily climb because they can take their time and negotiate hard. And we're seeing that reflected in the individual HPI pricing. Looking at properties by type, we see that single-family detached rose 0.3% to 1,375,600 and took an average of 39 days to sell. Unfortunately, it's still down 8.7% year over year. Townhomes also climbed 0.3% to 772,700. They took on average only 36 days to sell, which is normal. They're one of the most affordable price points. But they also have fallen 7.3% year over year. Lastly, condos rose the least, climbing only 0.2% to 489,200, and they took an average of 43 days to sell. However, year-over-year decline is still sitting at 9.2% for that property type. So we're finally starting to see some increases, and that's fantastic. But depending on your perspective, we've got a lot of ground to make up. So what does this actually mean? Well, if you're a buyer, it potentially means you can start shopping with confidence because you're not necessarily going to lose value on the home that you purchased the day after you buy it. But it also means prices aren't falling anymore and savings might be off the table. If you're a seller, this means that prices aren't falling anymore, which is great. But if you're expecting prices to start climbing exponentially quickly, I'd say maybe don't get too excited just yet. The market's carrying a lot more inventory than it usually does. Like I mentioned, 50% above the 10-year seasonal average. When buyers have a lot of options, they have a lot of leverage, which is not conducive to prices climbing. In fact, we saw something similar happen last year with an early spring bump, but the market simply didn't have the momentum to carry us through the slower summer months. And that's when we started seeing prices fall, roughly around May, June, and they continued from there. So while I'm excited to finally see prices starting to climb and hoping that we see some stability, we might not be out of the woods just yet. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, but it might be a train. We'll have to wait and see. Anyway, if you'd like a more in-depth breakdown of market or property type, check out the market area page at jkre.ca or give me a call. Thanks so much.